Everybody please come to order. We're going to go ahead and get started. Shh. If everybody would please come to order. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started where we can get out of here. Superintendent Barnes, we appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. If y'all take him out in the hall and question him, we'd appreciate that. Superintendent, we'll grab you after. Don't leave. No. Fran, if you'll lead them out in the hall, help us out. Get them out there and let them question. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you. Well, before we get started, what I'd like to do quickly while our members are coming in, I would like to ask our great supporters out in the audience to please stand, recognize, and introduce yourselves. Nothing long. What organization you're with, because we will be calling on you. You're a valuable resource. So quickly, just run. And if there's two of you together for the same organization, one of you just introduce the other. Start here. Go quickly. Stand up and give it to us.
I'm Jimmy Stokes.
While they leave.
I'm Jimmy Stokes. I represent the Georgia Association of Secondary Schools.
Herb? Great. Thank you. All right. Come on across. Start back there. Okay. All right, behind us. Very good. David? Anyone? Josh? All right. Mark. All right. We have anyone over to my right? Yeah. Good. Anyone else we missed? Come on, let's hear from you. All right. The two behind, did you get you? All right. Now I'm going to tell you, that's important. Any more parent advocates? That's critical. Our parents are, we have any students here today that are here observing. Did we miss you over here?
I'm not a student. I'm Maureen Young from the agency.
I thought you looked like a student. Maureen, you're just getting younger and younger, darling. We're so proud of you. Reason we're introducing this, now Marlene, I want you to give me a good press tomorrow. You hear me? All right. This is important for this committee for you to know these people, because I'm going to tell you, these are the ones that can help you. They can provide information for you. They're available. They'll be the ones that will be grabbing you in the hall, wanting to talk to you about things. So they're a great group to know. I want to ask, where are our State Department people? Because we want to be sure they're here with us. Every meeting we have, there's someone from the State Department here that can answer our questions. We have them here, and you know it all, I know, and we're going to ask you, son, I guarantee you. All right. Now, what I'd like to do, we have some new people. I'd quickly like for us to go through, just give us your district. If you're new, tell us you're a freshman, and quickly come on down the line. Start down here on the top row. And give me your number, and I'll cut you and turn you on. Mash your button on the bottom. All right, go to it.
Is it working? There we go.
Yeah, you're on.
Representative Andy Welch from the District 110.
Randy?
Representative Randy Nix, District 69, parts of Troop Herd and Carroll counties.
Good.
Mike Dudgeon with District 24 in Forsyth County.
And I'm Valerie Clark from House District 104, Greater Lawrenceville, and I'm a freshman.
Howard Maxwell, District 17, Paulding and Haralson counties.
And I want you to know he chairs the wonderful Retirement Committee.
Sam Teasley, District 38, Marietta, Cobb County.
Ed Setzler, District 35, Northwest Cobb, Kennesaw, and Ackworth.
This District 103, Gwinnett County.
And David's our vice chair, all right? What's your number, 2019?
19. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Battles, District 15, which is the city of Cartersville and the southeast portion of Bartow County.
Brian Thomas, District 100, which is in Gwinnett County.
Tommy Benton, District 31, Jackson, Barrow, and Hall counties.
And Tommy's our secretary, and he's treasurer also, and he's going to be keeping us straight around here. Hugh, what's your number? 3, all right?
Hugh Floyd, District 99, Gwinnett County, representing Norcross, a little bit of Liberal, a little bit of Tucker.
And Abby, would you introduce yourself? You're number 20.
I'm Abby Shockley on the committee for this committee.
She's very important. Know her. She'll be helping us with research. We heard John Brown this morning speaking to us, talking about what they'll be doing. Abby works in that department. She's ours, and we will have the room next week at 2 o'clock, I guarantee you, because she controls them. All right, even if we have to move the speaker. All right, Henry, what's your number? We're glad to have you with us.
10, Henry Wayne Howard, District 121, Augusta, Georgia.
And number 12, all right.
Yes, Rick Austin, District 10, Habersham, and most of White County.
Very good. And we also have with us, Betsy, stand up. I want everybody to see you. Betsy is ours, people. Betsy is Legislative Counsel. Anything that we need done, for bills drafted, help us out, she does it. Anybody who mistreats her, David will take care of you. I guarantee. But now Betsy's great. She's there. She'll be handling all of our legislation. We're proud to have her. And next to her is our aide for the year. This is, stand up, Jacob, and introduce yourself.
I am Jake Larios. I'm intern with the House Education Committee. I worked as the aide for 3 sessions. So this is my 4th session with the committee, and I'm from Northwood College State University.
Doing great up there. And you may know Sarah, Rachel, and all the family homeschoolers. Tell you that homeschooling is pretty good. I tell you, they've done a good job there. All right, what we want to do now.
We're going to pass this around.
All right, I'm passing around a form that I'd like for all committee members to sign. And this form has got a lot of information about you. Be sure I have your cell phone, whatever's missing on there, that we have it where we can get in touch with you if we need you. We got to do that. So we have that. One thing that we will be doing probably, I hope we don't continue to get out every Friday, but we're probably going to be meeting every Thursday at 3 o'clock. It's going to be our normal meeting time. Our subcommittee days will probably be Tuesdays at various times that the committee subcommittee chairs will pick. So put that on your agenda. But we hopefully that if we start getting out every Friday, we're going to change something. I'll tell you, we don't know what we're going to do, but we've got a good time. There's not what we try to do is work this out. Because we have so many committee chairs on this committee, we want to get it where they don't have to miss their meetings, and we can have them at this meeting. We're going to have some very important legislation. I have 4 things I want to take up today, and then I'll take your questions, but I want to do 4 things first. First of all, if you look in your folders, we have to adopt the rules of the committee. So don't start complaining about your subcommittees yet, because that we'll worry about later. But everybody read over these quickly about the rules. If you'll notice, members who've been here before, we have lowered the quorum just a little because our committee is smaller this year by about 4 members. I think, Abby, what are we, 28 now? 24? 28? So a quorum will be 7. Notice that's been a change to the rules. Notice that everything else, I think, is just, we'll establish the agenda, but I think everything else just common operations of committees. You've seen almost in every committee so far that you've had. And we need to have this to where we can operate. So do I have a motion or any questions, first of all, about the rules? Any questions? Please press your button where I know where you are. All right, Reverend Setzler.
Mr. Chairman, I perhaps just haven't found it yet in the rules. Is it your intent to have all the public testimony in the subcommittee? I'm
going to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm going to talk when I give that. I'm going to talk about that in the when we get into the subcommittees. Yeah.
And second question: is there any quorum requirement for subcommittees?
That you'll establish that yourself. We let the local subcommittees establish that, because it may be 2 in some, maybe a little more. It'd be up to you. I tell you, some of you may want to make it 1. Get everybody there. All right. Do I have any other questions about the rules? Do I have a motion? I have a motion that the rules be adopted. I have a second? All right. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Oh, these are our rules we'll be operating under. All right. Next, we have subcommittee assignments. Please look at your subcommittee list. What this year we're going to have operate under. Now, as you heard Representative Setzler mention, the way we operate in this committee, most of our work is done in subcommittee. That's where all the testimony, where all the, and everyone, even though you're not on the subcommittee, we encourage you to attend. These are very important. It does not mean you can't ask questions or you cannot speak in the full committee, but as our friends in the audience know, that's where they come and they testify, they make their case known, they work with the subcommittee, and that's where the works and the bills are perfected. So look at your subcommittees. This year we have Academic Achievement and Curriculum. David is here. He'll be chairing that. Vice Chair, Rick, you're the vice chair of that. Y'all will pick your secretary, however else you want to work that. Look at your committee members there. Every committee, you'll notice, has 3 or 4 ex officio members. That would be the chair, the vice chair, the secretary, and the ex officio Dixon, who is the vice chair of the Appropriations Committee, and that's the way they work because he's working with the appropriations. They do have voting power, and so they will be able to come to the subcommittees, and they do have voting power there. Now, if you're not a member of that committee, you may not vote in that committee. If the chair allows, you may speak. You may ask questions. That would be up to the chair of that committee, but there'll be no voting other than committee members. All right. Any questions about the subcommittees? All right. Do I hear? I don't have a motion because I have the right to do this. All right. That is the committee. All right. Let's go. Let's move right on. Look at the next list. You'll have a list of all members. This is a list of our full committee. Again, you'll notice we have several new members. We're proud to welcome you to our committee, and we look forward to working with you. And we have a great group here, and so we're proud of this subcommittee group. Again, is it understood how bills operate? Studied in subcommittee, debated in the subcommittee, presented by the committee to the full committee. Again, we will talk about it. We can debate it. A bill can be amended at any level. And that came up in natural resources. There was a big debate. I think, Ed, you asked that question in natural resources. A bill can be amended. No, I think Brian, you asked that question in natural resources. A bill can be amended in subcommittee or in full committee, whatever. We do ask. Now, we don't have this as a rule, but we do ask that you submit, if you're going to make an amendment or something, don't surprise your subcommittee chair. We're all friends. Let them know early, and let me know if you're going to do something in full committee, just where we can pass them out and people can have copies. And Betsy, bless her heart, could have it ready for us before the meeting. So if you're going to do that, let us know that. Okay? Any questions about that, how they're going to operate? Subcommittee chair will pick their rooms and will decide where it's going to go. We have walking in the room a very good friend, Ann Purcell. Ann used to be chair of this committee, the education committee, years ago, and we're glad she's back now, and she's on our committee also. Let's look now. We have some bills that have been assigned to the committee. Don't have many. We have 2, I think, David. Is that right? And so I'm going to ask David if he would at this time to talk about the bills. Let me see.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are really going to try this session to make sure that bills end up in the appropriate subcommittees, so the subcommittee work is not all over the place. And I don't think we announced the titles of them. We're working with 3 subcommittees this session. Academic Achievement and Curriculum, as the chairman mentioned. We also have the Academic Support Subcommittee that will be chaired by Representative Randy Nix, which we plan any bills that are non-curriculum, have to do with structure, support, governance, will be coming to that subcommittee. And then we have the subcommittee on academic innovations that will be chaired by Ed Setzler. And anything that goes with charter schools, school choice, anything that's innovative will certainly come to that subcommittee and will be debated there. So we're going to try as best as possible, depending on the subject, for it to be there. That'll help you also with your relationships and getting to know the representatives on those subcommittees, and you can work with them. We have 2 bills House Bill 39 and House Bill 63 that have come to the committee. House Bill 39 is Representative Tommy Benton's bill on adding United States mail to the attendance requirements. This is a bill that we passed
unanimously
last session. So I'm not going to assign it to a subcommittee. What we're going to do is leave it in full committee, and we'll take it up next week, Representative Benton, and that will be our first measure. The second bill is House Bill 63 by Representative Mike Jacobs, and this is a bill that says that any county that's charging or is collecting a homestead option tax and some other property types of taxes, they're going to be mandated immediately to have 7 members at least in their school boards. That's going to be interesting, and we're going to put Representative Nick's subcommittee to work. So Representative Nix, that bill will be coming to you. And that's what we have so far, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. One thing we want to mention, Ann Purcell, she is the vice chair with Randy Nix on that committee. Mm-hmm. And Valerie Clark, you are the vice chair on the committee with Ed. You have your hands full, Valerie, but y'all have a good time. Y'all have a good time, you and Ed, on that with that committee. A lot of creative, innovative things going on. We have 2 or 3 other bills that have been dropped, and they have not had the second reading or third reading, so they'll be assigned next week. And I can tell you there are 3 bills. I want to just give you a quick overview of the things you need to be watching for. First of all, I'd like to ask Randy if you'll talk about your 2 things you see coming down and just give us a quick overview of those. And we need to hold, they're critical. It's going to be very, very, and 90% of the stuff that John talked about. All right, Randy? What's your number? 28. Press your button there. There you go. Now you're on.
We had a study committee during the interim, and we started out looking primarily at the single diploma. We recognized that there were some questions and some needs there to try to address it. And as we went around the state, we found out several interesting things. One of the things that we found out is the last entity that's been thought about as we have done our education planning seems to be the student. And that kind of rose to the top real quickly in our discussions. The first lightning rod we ran into, or the thing that got struck the most, was the math curriculum, which the superintendent addressed today. I will probably be dropping a resolution on Monday that the superintendent is in favor of that specifically asks the department to address that and to report back to us how they're going to solve that problem. Now, he pointed out some things, and I think he may already have the plan in place, but we feel like this is necessary because of the board. I think he's had some pushback even from the board, but we're going to have a joint House-Senate resolution that will be asking them to address that. We'll be stating the concerns that we have run into from students, teachers, parents, employers. We opened it up to everybody when we spoke about this, and we even had employers and potential employers who had concerns about that, simply because some of the students that would have been coming and working with them through Skills USA and those type programs could no longer do it because they were having to take a math support class when they would have been going to work in the afternoon. So I will be dropping that resolution. It was a joint House-Senate resolution. Irene Munn helped me get that together. I think the Senate is very much on board. We've got a number of signers. If you want to sign it, I have it here with me. Then the other legislation, and we don't have it complete, Betsy's working on it, is to address the 1 diploma issue. We went into this anticipating going back to a 2 diploma system. But as we got more and more input, and a lot of it did come from the new superintendent, we feel like the 1 diploma system will work well if we use the Pathways program correctly. If we put the student first and try to determine what that student needs to be successful. One of the things we kept hearing from employers is this: the key that these students need is a high school diploma. And we asked the question, does it need to be a college prep diploma? Does it need to be whatever. We were talking to the military. We were talking to Walmart. We were talking to Kia. And they said, we don't care what it's in, but they've got to have it as the key to open the door, because we're not even going to let them apply. So if we disenfranchise these students by forcing them to do some of these things, and they're not successful, we essentially have taken the key away from them. And we're trying to figure out a way in the legislation that will be put together that will be directing the use of the Pathways program with the one diploma should address those issues. We had a very interesting summer with the meetings we went to. If anybody would like to talk about them, I'd be glad to talk with you. We've got a report that we did on that. But again, the superintendent is very much in favor of the legislation that we will be dropping, and he thinks that we need to make this statement about what we found out and what we would like to see coming from the department.
Hey, Jim, I want to tell you something. This probably was the hardest work and one of the best committees I've seen. We did have bipartisan support. We had Democrats, Republicans, House and Senate all working with us, and they did a lot of work. One thing we are going to address in this, too, that he mentioned, I think is very important. You heard me ask the question to the superintendent about these students that are graduating or taking these courses, and they're not allowed to go on into the high school, or they're not, on into technical school or into college, because they're saying we won't accept those courses. We're instructing in this piece of legislation probably that they will. And we're saying this year, people, we've given them 18 years. And we've said we will come up with 15, 20 courses. We know the technicals and colleges are doing it. Colleges and colleges are trying, but we want the high school. And I'm glad our State Department's here. We've talked to find a way. And Fran and I are meeting with that group next week, I think, isn't it, Kathleen? I think y'all are meeting next week. We're meeting, and we plan to say that. Now, the problem is, and I'll say it right up front, the problem is legislatively we can do it, K-12 and the technical, but the Board of Regents, that's another story. So I don't know legally what, but we can sure encourage them to do it, and we're going to try to encourage them to take that, because it bothers us that they start technical school, then they can't get into college to have them take the remediation and everything. And Kathy, she's just walking in. She worked with us all summer on all these too, so we appreciate it. Another thing we're going to put in that are the soft skills you mentioned. We found the school said, hey, the work people said, this is great. They know how to do the math, but the number one reason Kia and the military, they dismiss people, they don't show up, they're not on time, they can't get along. They said we're not teaching soft skills, so we're working with Melvin Everson, the workforce group, and they're going to have some things we're going to put that if they get this, they'll give a little exam, they'll see that they've been exposed to the soft skills that a lot of the companies need. A lot of people say, let's have another course. You guys that work with education know it's not another course we need. It's just we've got the people there. Let's just emphasize some of these. And most of the teachers are doing a lot of this. We found the soft skills also. But that's where we're trying to head. Now I'm telling you, this is a big piece of legislation, a very important piece that can really, and as our former principal here knows, Barry, you know how important a lot of these things are. And y'all that have been in it can really help us with that. That's one. The second thing we're going to do, the committee that's working, you heard the governor. One of the governor's top priorities in this coming to this committee is the QBE funding formula. We've tried for years with different funding formulas and trying to find a way to do it. So we're looking at partnering with the governor, the House and Senate. You heard Fran mention it already, that we will be looking at a model to drop that will have timelines, dates, areas that we could look at and get us started, and an organization would bring a group together that would be involving a lot of people, but a lot. And we heard you guys, a lot of educators, teachers, principals, superintendents, other people on this committee, with committees, ad hoc committees, to really come up and look at this whole thing of funding education. What does it really cost? What does it really take? What should the partnership be? What should be covered? And people, it may not cost more. It may cost more. We're not going to say that, but what we're saying is let's prioritize when money is available what we're going to do and what we want to pay. So those are some things we're looking at also. Then the third thing we're going to look at, and I'll take your questions, but the third thing we're going to look at then will be that Amy, her committee, did a study this summer with Kelly Henson, and they looked at this whole thing of staff development. We gave that sabbatical for staff development, said teachers, and I was surprised the calls we got of people upset we gave that sabbatical, but we said because of the economy they didn't have to, they had 5-year reprieve on that. But they looked at things like support the funding and implementation of House Bill 280, That's the math and science. You know, part of the curriculum, we pay a little more for math and science teachers. They're looking at dropping something to try to the professional learning rules and recognize that educators need time to improve their knowledge and skills. They're going to be definition of professional learning. What is it? What does it mean? What does it mean to teachers? What about advanced degrees, unused degrees, like a leadership degree, but you're teaching? You know, we're going to be looking at a lot of those things. So Amy will be with us next week to talk a little more about that. But those are the three things that we will be bringing up starting next week and in subcommittee. Brian, you had a question. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to ask a question about the funding formula.
Yeah.
I recollect 3 or 4 years ago we had a briefing from something called IE Squared.
Yes, sir.
And they were going around the state looking at what it would cost to fund an excellent education. And all I remember seeing out of that is something that had to do with flexibility in contracting between the state and school districts. So my question is, do we have anything out of that IE Squared Commission dealing with funding?
I'm sure, Representative, and you know as well as I do, there's data, and Kathy, Representative Nash and I know we talked about that when we were looking. We'll be looking at all the stuff that's been out there that did not give us what we wanted, but this committee, timelines, we plan to have drop-dead dates when things will be presented, when legislation will be dropped, and we'll do things. So yes, we'll be looking, whatever they have, they'll be brought to the table where we can find out what they have. Bring in all groups, anybody, you know, all other agencies out there. But this is not, I want to repeat to you, we're not planning on doing an extension of IE Squared, no.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, the next thing, housekeeping issues, and we'll let you go, because there's a good reception tonight. Y'all know that, don't you? Yeah, down in Savannah, they got oysters and shrimp and all that good stuff. And a lot of people have gone home, so there's more for all of us, so let's go. All right, housekeeping issues. During the off season, y'all do know we lost one of our members, Representative Sellier, passed away, and we had a couple of people who were hospitalized that we sent flowers, and thank goodness we have a little fund that we put together to send flowers, to send cards when people are ill or when people pass away, and we do that. So we have what we call a due, and at the end of the year, we always like to recognize because Janet, now I want to tell you, she's not here, but Janet has been very ill. They thought she had pneumonia. She's had to go by the hospital and have tests, and she does not have pneumonia. She's getting better. They've told her not to dare come back until Monday, so she's been in bed. She would she appreciates your prayers and thinking about her, but she's doing better. She just really fell apart. It just got with all that congestion, and they thought it was pneumonia, but she's better. But our office is 417. Go by there. Janet is a jewel. And y'all do know she'll help you out any way she can too, so y'all keep her in your thoughts and prayers and think she'll be here back. But we do have dues, and this keeps us from having to collect money at the end of the year for this committee. Tommy's sitting over there. Tommy, raise your hand. Everybody see it. Don't turn around, baby. He has a way of twisting your arm, but we're asking for every committee member to pay $25. That's your committee dues. And we'll take that, we'll use that for all of these things, and we'll, so if you would, you can go ahead and give it to Tommy anytime, check, money order, firstborn, whatever you want to get. He takes them all. He'll be glad to have them. The second thing, now listen, this is where our friends come in. The second thing we have is we're going to have a committee dinner. We're scheduling it for the last of February. We haven't decided the spot yet, so please, Josh is spearheading it. Now, he's trying to get some people to help him out. Josh, if you want to, get with Josh and say, Josh, I would like for us to go here, or I'd like for us to go there. Wherever we go, Josh will tell me based on what you want to say, but he is preparing our committee dinner. And any of you others that would like to help Josh and their firm, we appreciate it. We're also looking at a couple of committee luncheons, so if any of you would like to, please see Jacob over there, or see, well, Abby's not in the office all the time, but see Jacob or Janet and say, we'd like to participate too, and we appreciate that. So that we'll be doing those. Now, are there any questions? I hope I've covered everything. Any questions or anything? Yeah, David? Yeah. All right, what number? 21, okay.
Just wanted to add one thing. We will have the lists of subcommittee members and subcommittees available. We'll have copies of that so you can have and you can know who's on what.
And I would like for you to do something too. Would every one of you please come by my office and give Janet your new cell phones, how we can contact you, emails, because we want to be sure, you know how Janet is, she wants to be sure you know. where she can send you out. We'll keep you notices. You notice when you walk in our office, there's always the meeting notices. Right now is not a problem, but near the end of the session, you know, we have a lot of things are happening quickly, so it'll be the janitor will place them there. So please go by and be sure we have all of your information. That's important for us to have too. Your phone numbers, your cell phones, your emails, and we'll be sure you're on our list. If you don't get a message from Janet, it's your fault because you didn't let her know, because I guarantee she'll do it. Does anyone in the audience have a question? I want to make a comment. I'll give you 1 second. Anybody? All right. Anybody on the committee have a question? Anybody? All right. If not, you're adjourned. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.